Why I Love Mothers Rosario is a very personal story, but I'm going to share it in the hopes that some of your love for this masterpiece goes up even a little. It all starts with Asuna. She is the protagonist of this arc, and we got a lot of insight into her personal life. The more we saw, the more it felt very eerily similar to what I was experiencing and feeling in my own life, like scarily so. Much like Asuna, in fact, even more than her, I had extremely strict parents that I did not get along with. The way she describes her relationship with them was so accurate to my experience. The fact she was pushed so heavily to get good grades to the extent where it was all that mattered and her value as a human was based on them. The fact that it was never good enough, regardless of how good the grades were or how hard she was trying. She never got praised for her efforts or results and was instead further scrutinized and put down for any feeling of pride in her achievements. Enjoying yourself was treated as a crime, and anything joyful in life was a waste of time. Instead, life should simply just be wake up and study until it's time to sleep again, like some sort of mindless robot with no purpose other than to 100% tests. Even how Asuna describes her extended family and family friend meetings was so painfully relatable, that it was not for enjoying each other's company, but rather just a dick measuring contest between the parents, boasting about their respective children's accomplishments in a fashion akin to showing off pedigree dogs at a pageant, all in an effort to inflate their own egos, and their children served no other purpose than to be used as bragging rights. It was very superficial and felt dehumanizing. The way Asuna had no autonomy in her own life, and the way that family dinners were portrayed, cold and almost stressful, like an awkward event that you were just praying would be over before anything bad happened. Where in contrast, when Asuna went to Kirito's house for family dinners, the atmosphere was joyous and everybody was having a good time interacting with each other. Something that was so alien, it surprised Asuna that family gatherings could even be like this. For me as well, I had the exact same experience when I would go to friends' houses growing up. It's actually why I tried to go to sleepovers at my friends' houses as much as I possibly could, because there I felt like I could actually enjoy life and take a break from the hellish reality that was my normal existence. Anything Asuna said to her mother about how she felt was disregarded with little thought. As such, it left her with a feeling that she could never approach her own mother about anything, as it would just be a futile endeavour that would end in nothing but grief for Asuna. I could really relate to how helpless she felt in this situation, and it almost felt as if this arc was written for me. So, in comes Yuki, and there are many reasons why I love Yuki, but the main one is how she chose to live her life. She always expressed whatever was on her mind and was true to what she believed in, which leads to this moment that resonated with me the most.
ぶつからなきゃ伝わらないことだってあるよ。例えば、自分がどれくらい真剣なのか、とかね。
This is a quote I really took to heart, and it really made me think, because it's just so true. Think about how many times in your life you've had problems in relationships or certain situations that have just been eating away at you, but you don't want to go through what will likely be a hard or painful conversation in order to confront it. And so you just grin and bear it, letting it chip away at you little by little, resulting in you being much more uncomfortable or sad than you need to be. Then think about how many times in your life you've had arguments, hell, even full-on fights with people close to you. And yeah, that's really unpleasant to go through, and sometimes you're really not sure if there's any coming back from it. And then, more often than not, if it's someone or something you truly care about, in the end, you make up and the relationship or situation ended up better for it. Because the reality is, communication is really hard. So often you can misinterpret things. Think something you said came off one way, but instead it came off another. You can miss a key piece of context, and it is really hard to be able to tell how someone truly feels. You may think you know, but more often than not, you don't. So it's only by making your feelings really clear that those around you who care about you will be able to understand you. It doesn't have to be a fight, but sometimes that's what it takes. So Asuna reflects on this, ultimately making the decision to try and make her mother understand how she feels. Like always, at first the mother dismisses her without much thought in her typical cold fashion. However, this time, Asuna does not yield and instead doubles down, as she is resolved to go wherever this conversation needs to go for her to get her point across. Having now seen that Asuna clearly feels strongly about this, her mother now hears her out. They finally have a heart-to-heart in which Asuna is able to clearly communicate how she feels, and all cards are laid on the table. The two then come to an understanding, and ultimately Asuna's mother just wants the best for her. So as long as Asuna keeps walking a path that's good for her future, she's willing to let Asuna dictate what kind of path that will be. Seeing Asuna be able to get through to her mother like this was honestly a really emotional and inspiring moment for me. As I mentioned, I was in a very similar, honestly even worse position in terms of my relationship with my parents. I had also resigned myself to them being unreachable and had given up on the situation getting any better. So seeing Asuna make this breakthrough, as corny as it sounds, it really did give me hope. So I also decided to take Yuki's advice and steeled my resolve to communicate how I felt. It was rough and really difficult. We never got to a point where you have that warm, happy family relationship like Kirito's was at that point, but I can say things did get better, and I think because I did that, my younger brothers are having an easier time growing up than I did. So to any of you who made it this far who might be going through a similar thing to what I or Asuna described, I implore you, please take that first step and seriously communicate how you feel. Trust me, I know how hard that can feel. That's why I actually love that the opening to this arc is called Courage, because it really does take a lot of courage to take that first step in these situations. But it's the only way things will ever get any better, and I can promise you that it is worth it. So to close, I would truly like to thank Reki for writing Mother's Rosario. It is an arc that I will always keep very close to my heart.